say we are both Sour Patch Kids because, like, we're sour than we're sweet.
Right. It's my resting
We're drinking
face.
Capriccio
Ooh.
Rosé Sangria.
I didn't realize it came in the can like that.
This one, well, it comes in
Wine
a can,
in a can
and a bottle.
Oh.
And that's how
Extra
I found
fancy.
it. First was in a can.
I like it.
Because my liquor store had it, like, right at checkout. And I was like, what is this shit?
I will give it a whirl.
Love those. And right now, wine and champagne is 20% off. Or 10%.
Oh, to
one
get
of
us
those.
through the holidays so we don't murder family.
Yeah.
Thank you, liquor store.
Until Friday. They kept calling it Good Friday. Is this Friday Good Friday? I don't know.
No, that's near Easter. Someone's confused.
Thank you. Okay, good. Because I got confused and I was like, me?
Whatever.
But I'm cool with it.
We'll take it.
Fuck.
Right.
I'll take any discount off of my
Me
liquor.
too.
I don't give a fuck.
Me too.
Love it either way.
What are our cards tonight?
We are doing, what do you think your sexiest quality is? What could happen at a dinner party that would make it, or make things awkward?
A lot.
Which I'm sure we have a lot of stories on
yeah,
that.
'cause things have been awkward
Getting
in
older,
general.
it's like merps. And what do people wrongly assume about you?
Ooh, these are all really good
These are really
ones.
good cards.
What do you want to start with?
Let's do the dinner party.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah, it's
Well,
the holidays.
It is.
Everybody's going to different dinner parties, whether it's like family-based or friend-based.
Right.
Either one could go left quickly.
Right. All it takes is one misplaced comment or look.
And it is on.
Right.
It's like, bitch, and what? I got some shit for you.
Right. So I think for the most part, pretty much, there's always one comment that makes things awkward.
What's that?
Sometimes, like, well, in general.
Okay.
Like,
I was
just
like,
in general.
main
There's
comment.
always, like, well, I think anytime somebody starts talking politics and you've got two different generations in there, that can get awkward really quickly. Especially
that is a really bad topic.
right now in, like, the state of things. We find out whose closet racism, like, is going to just show full force at Thanksgiving.
Or whose full racism is that
Right.
you're trying to avoid. And then,
Correct.
but Jesus Christ, they flip that card open and they're like, "Crap." And
Well,
what?
I
heard that, or I read on Facebook, blah,
Oh my
blah,
God.
blah, happened.
So
I'm like, get
speaking
the
of,
fuck out of here.
I saw a YouTube video from Andy. Oh God, what's his name? I can't think of it.
Which one?
He was on like the Tonight Show.
Oh, no.
Can't think of his last name. I'm
I was
sorry,
thinking of Andy
Andy.
Milonakis.
No, not Andy Milonakis. That was a throwback.
Throwback. Oh,
Esther
how
just
old
made
am I?
things awkward here. I
That
was
is
like,
all-
Andy Milonakis, man. I haven't heard that
Right.
name in forever.
I know, right?
Watch him be like really hot and like a CEO or something. No?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so.
Or he's still living in that
hilarious.
basement.
He's still hilarious.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, you gotta be.
But I don't think he's like, I don't know. I haven't checked up on him in a while, so.
Maybe we'll have to check up on that. Andy Milonakis, what are you doing?
Whew.
But no, I can't think of his name, and I'm so sorry because like I've already drank a glass and a half, so we all know I'm like. Wah. But it was about blocking Fox News on like your parents' TV or your grandparents' TV when you go and visit. So
I would get
ironically,
stabbed.
the funniest part is like I did this 5 years ago.
Oh,
Oh yeah. So I came over to my grandparents. It had to have been, maybe it was longer than 5 years ago because that's all they have on. And I'm like, oh God, blah, blah, blah. And in general, I blocked that in the golf.
monotone talking. It's just
Possibly,
like,
but I blocked that in the golf channel. And the after.
and the golf
Oh,
channel.
yeah, I was not
You
playing
were looking
that
for an
Thanksgiving.
ass whooping.
Well, I was daring
Just
mofos
block the
to
weather
come
channel
for me.
as you're
Oh my
with
God,
it.
that should have been the third one I blocked. So when I did it, though, I did it like the day before at night when everyone had gone to sleep. Right. So my grandpa gets up and he's like,
oh, man. I bet he flipped his
oh my
shit.
God, he did. He's like, something's wrong with this remote, Karen. God, shut up. So he's like mashing the remote, you know, because that's going to make the
He had
difference.
the number
and it keeps
memorized.
He's got the number
He's
memorized.
only had 3 numbers.
And it just won't go to the channel. And he's like, so he resorts to actually getting his ass up and trying to manually do it, which was hilarious. And at the end of it all, he ended up throwing the remote and throwing this huge fit. So, of course, I let it sit for a while because, well, like, I'm enjoying a Fox News free Thanksgiving. Thanks. Yes. I still have to hang out with all of you people that I hate.
Noises.
That might have been the same year that my grandma, I think, like, toasted she burnt them a little bit, the garlic bread, because sometimes we do like lasagna instead of like a traditional meal or whatever, and my cousins are ungrateful assholes. Like, I should probably put their full names out here so everyone can like spam them, because that's how much I don't like them, but I'm gonna try not to. But I remember they came in and they like just are so rude, and I was not gonna tolerate any of that, because like my grandma's over here slaving in this kitchen for you to come over and be a rude a-hole. Not today, sucker, not on my watch, because that's the game I play.
Right.
Like, I wish you would challenge me. Like, we all
you
know
didn't
my
hear
role.
about the stink cheese, huh?
Correct. Well, they all know my role. Like, I just don't play. So I remember one of them had said something about like, ugh, this garlic bread is like just hard, and someone overcooked it. And they looked at my grandma, and I was like, from across the table, I said, put it down. Put it down before I slap it out your mouth. Like, this is Thanksgiving, swear to God. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, you are just ungrateful. I was
Don't
like,
eat it then.
And I snatched it out of his hand. I was like, good, no garlic bread for you. I was like, Grandma, I think this garlic bread tastes great. And I was like, and anyone else who disagrees can go ahead and eat shit. And so that pretty much was the awkward comment that shut down the entire table. So I told everyone to eat shit on Thanksgiving.
I mean, don't fucking eat the stuff. Like, don't say anything. Like, or bring your own stuff next time.
How about you shut the hell up and not try me and be nice to Grandma on Thanksgiving? Because what you don't understand is I'll slap some damn bread out your mouth. I'll slap it. And I told them that. They thought I was playing until I snatched that damn bread. They all know I'm crazy, though, and that's why, I get the side eye when I walk past the TV. We're not quite sure what's going to come out of my mouth. See, that's the secret. You want a peaceful Thanksgiving? Yeah. Be a fucking lunatic. Yeah. Because then nobody knows what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Try me.
Right, exactly. Because you could be really... He said try me.
Try me, ho.
I need a shirt that says that. Try me,
Try me, ho.
Right, exactly.
You don't know what the fuck this psycho about to do.
Well, and they never do, and so it's just like they pay. It's like I'm like Moses parting the Red Sea. When I walk into the room with them, they're all like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Don't do shit.
Right, because you just never know what's going to trigger me. I mean, one year it was the garlic bread. The next year somebody said something about like, I want to say like her ceramics or something, and I was like, don't come for my grandma. Exactly. I mean, I get it, it's your grandma too, but you ain't done right by her. Exactly. Don't come for my grandma. There's been awkward. I've been at a dinner party, though, where someone has made things awkward. And it was like a Friendsgiving. And they had invited their brother, and so the sister-in-law, and then the kids came. Right. And I've got, 3 kids. And since I've had kids, we've always kind of established the fact that they need to do chores. And my kids listen. Because they're afraid. Because I will slap some garlic bread out your mouth. Like, you don't know me like that. Right, because I'm crazy. So my kids are pretty well behaved because I set that expectation, and there are certain, like, and if not, then I will be like, do you need to go to the bathroom?
Exactly.
And because we're not going to the bathroom. Like, you know what that means. That means I'm going to go correct that ass up in the bathroom. And that's what's up. Yeah. But what made it really awkward was their kids were not behaved like that. They in fact were little rebellious little demon spawn, and were just like hanging around adults and like wouldn't beat feet, and the dad kept trying to get him to leave. And so at one point he turns to his wife and he says, he was like, and he looks at me, he's like, will you tell her what you do to make your kids listen? Why aren't our kids more well behaved like that? And I was like, oh God, this is not going to go well, because then she shot me daggers, and I'm like, listen, bro.
Well,
like,
number 5, you're a parent. You're their parent too. So if you have a problem, speak the fuck up. It's not only the vagina's problem.
He was, but then she kept coddling. So there was that piece. So it was kind of like, And so I was just like, well, every kid is different, and you have to do what's right for you, and this is what works for us. But I was like, the whole time you could tell she wanted to murder me, and then it didn't help that he like kept staring at me the whole time.
Creepy.
So so that made things pretty awkward. And then there was always this conversation, like when you get like, I got a new tattoo one year, one of my bad ones, and so that made things awkward because like my family didn't believe in that, and so then I came home with my tramp stamp, and so that was weird.
I think any type of argumentative thing that you bring up during the holidays is like,
yeah,
because then the other person, so one person brings some shit up. Now the other person has
an avalanche of
they have a decision to make.
Oh,
am I going to make a full? Am I going to add the fuck it? Or am I going to like just grin and
take
bear
the
it?
high road.
And when we get in that car, I'm going to fucking cuss you out.
So what is your option usually?
I've never been in that situation because Theon's pretty chill. Like, we're pretty chill at stuff like that. Like, I don't have any, like...
My family has zero chill.
Well, I don't
Neither
have any kids, so there's nothing to compare that to. Like, like, I'm not compared to any other moms. Like, we're just, like, chill that shit. All I have is this dog that doesn't do anything. Whatever. Like... I haven't been in that situation, but like, also Theon would never put me in a situation like that, and I would never put Theon in a situation like that because that's like one person that has to bring up. So like you've been holding that back.
Oh, right.
And then all of a sudden, because everybody's there,
like, pow.
Yeah, everybody's there, and you're like, well,
let me drop
say
this
some
bomb.
Slick shit.
But you know that's like a phenomenon, right? Like people dropping bombs on Thanksgiving. Hell yeah. Some people hold on to them. Like some people decide that they're ready to come out of the closet, and why not when everyone's there.
Well,
so that could be a bomb depending on your family.
Yeah, something that big. Okay, because you have everybody there.
With their new boyfriend, and people didn't realize that they were divorced. I mean, that's happened.
Enjoy.
Like I've heard of that one. We end up with a kid that we didn't know, and they're like 16. Yeah, no, that's happened too.
Actually, I think that happened. I don't remember when, but I was living on the south side of Savannah, and
south side. Sorry, like I feel like you have to do that when you say that. I'm sorry, I have Tourette's. My bad. South side. All right, I'll let it go.
And then I can't remember who texted me, my sister or my dad, and all of a sudden I found out I had a stepbrother.
Well, hello,
and I was like,
sir,
I'm
nice
too
to meet
drunk
you.
for this.
Right, I can't deal with this news.
Nope.
But people, for some reason, during the holidays, love to drop like these huge bombs, and that is usually the awkward conversation piece. Well, you figure, I guess, when you do
I have a conscience, and I gotta get this shit off.
You gotta get it off your chest, or maybe you're bringing them, and you gotta explain it.
Yeah.
So you might as well just drop the bomb. Oh, hey, by the way, this is Billy. He's your new brother.
What?
Oops. Oh, nice to meet you, Billy. What do you do for a living? Nice to meet you. I mean, people drop bombs all the time.
I think people do that shit in like, especially like public areas because you're like, they're not gonna freak out as much. Like it's a public area.
It's a safe space.
Yeah, because you're not.
But then
gonna,
you tell
like,
everybody at the same time, so you get to decide the narrative.
Right.
At least you know what you're gonna say.
You're
you
telling
don't get anything else.
People, and it's like kind of controlled because like. No one's really going to tell you about yourself unless you have Esther and Rachel there because then we're going to be like, wait.
We have questions. I'm sorry. I need just for clarification. So what happened exactly?
But I mean, I guess it's like you just feel a little bit more empowered because there's like more people there. And it's like, this is me. I'm taking a stand or this is what happened.
Like you gonna slap that garlic right out the mouth.
Exactly.
Like you ready. Well, and I know like we've talked about my F's-giving before.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
So like, you know, and I'll be honest, my sister-in-law had some stuff she needed to get off from her chest, and I agreed with her. Like, but unfortunately, the person she needed to get it off from her chest was not present.
Exactly.
But so it just turned into this mess.
A weird
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Things that make the conversation instantly go awkward, though, is when you always have somebody who is inappropriately hitting on you. Have you ever had that happen when you've been at a dinner party? Me too. And my husband has like been there, and it was like a swinger. No, it was like a swinger invitation. Well, and here's the deal.
Well then,
let me just preface this. Oh no. Not to be mean to swingers out there, because I'm sure that there are some very attractive swingers.
Do what you do.
However, if you are trying to come and swing with me and my husband, you better be on the same number scale.
On point.
Like, you can be 2 below or 2 above, but you cannot be 4 below. Like, and
both
so,
of them?
Yes.
Oh.
And I was kind of like,
I was about to say, because if it's a better deal for one of you.
It was not a better deal for either of us. Listen, they would have made out like bandits. It was a great deal for them, but we were like, no, we're not. Well, first off, my husband is never going for that. One, he would be like, oh, murder somebody. But like, and 2, get on my level, dog. Like, so that instantly made the conversation weird, because you're just like,
and now
and
I have
you don't
at
want to
least
be
an hour
to
with
them,
you.
right?
Yeah.
But you're also like, listen, can I talk to you about like an attractiveness scale? Like, and then you're just like, oh God, let me just go aggressive.
Right.
You're not cute enough. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
So that's always a weird one. Then you got the creepy uncle who shows up, or the drunkle.
That's what it is.
It's
It's a
drunkle. So
whether it's drug uncle or drunk uncle,
right? Drunkle. The drunkle usually is the one who just says whatever they're thinking.
Just wild ass shit. It's like, what?
And it's usually 100% inappropriate. I've had the drunkle when I was like, I must have been 19. And, you know, I was in pretty good shape, whatever. Right. And they were just like, whoa, what have you been up to? Like, and I was like, you are my uncle. And you are disgusting. And he's like, oh, I got some buddies, you know. And I'm like, gross.
Because how old are you and how old are your buddies?
Correct.
I am like just barely
19,
of age.
Right. And you're.
Get the fuck out of here.
So I'm always like, listen, drunkles.
Right.
Like, don't do it. Whether your niece or nephew is looking very nice, just compliment them. I really like your skincare routine.
And then
your hair looks very pretty, and walk away. Do not make sexual innuendos or try to hook them up with your friends. That's creepy and awkward, and you will shut down the conversation instantly. And or may
and now
get
I have
your
to
ass
like
kicked
sit
later.
around you at the table
and know that you're thinking something
I'm like
creepy.
picking up the knife and rubbing it because I just want you to know I know how to use this.
Right.
I'll stab you.
Correct.
And your friends, your freaking
My
fucking
mom
friends.
told me one time she made a conversation awkward at the table because she threw her fork at her brother. Okay. So my drunkle. But it was when they were younger, I guess, because he said something rude about one of her friends, something, something whatever. Yeah. And so she had had enough with his mouth. Fork. And so she whipped the fork at him, but it stuck in his pec. So
it actually connected. Yeah. Good
my
for her.
My mom has like some whip action.
Oh my god!
But it like stuck in his
those tight
pec,
jeans.
And
like they gotta put the energy somewhere. It's like in her hands.
Exactly, because those jeans are so damn tight. But so it hit his pec, and it's just like sitting there, and it's stuck in there. And and then of course he's freaking out because now he's like bleeding and stuff. But she was like, "Well, that ended the conversation."
That's what you get. And now.
Another
family time
right. Another time, I feel like come with it at one of my family is jacked. Like now that I'm thinking about this, like we are jacked. Like someone threw the mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Then there was a huge argument over like the
potatoes.
Oh yeah, no. Like there usually ends in a food fight, which now that I'm thinking about, like I don't. And at first it starts off, ha ha ha.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
then
throw this
it's
roll
like,
at you, and then suddenly you realize you hate these people.
Yeah.
And so you're just trying to nail them with some shit.
Demons.
Yeah, I mean it's awkward. Oh well, I have one that happened. I was at work, and it was a work celebration, and out of nowhere, I'm listening to this story, and I asked a qualifying question, which I thought we were having a conversation, and all of a sudden,
you said qualifying
because it had to do with I was listening, right?
Like,
I know.
Oh my God.
Every now and then I have a moment, and then I'm gonna screw it up in a minute, because that's a fact. But so I asked a qualifying question about the story that was being told, and out of nowhere, I start getting yelled at.
Ho gets crazy.
Yeah, right. Turns to me in the middle of this restaurant, and it's like, "Why are you always interrupting me? Can't you tell?" And I was all like.
And that's when the decision.
Yes.
Yeah, you come to these pinpoints.
Because in real life, what would have happened?
Am I going to act a food?
Correct.
Or
so
am I
going to
be
someone's birthday. I was professional. So I just gave her the side eye and shoved the chip that I was eating or about to eat in my mouth. So that way I couldn't say anything obnoxious. Because in real life, I would have been like,
act a fool.
I'm so sorry. Who are you talking to? Like, you must have fell and bumped your damn head. But Legit. It was insane. Like, I mean, and of course then the conversation gets instantly awkward and everyone gets quiet.
Everybody's like,
because now they're looking at me because they know I'm crazy and they're not quite sure what my reaction is going to be. But I think they're afraid for this person who is yelling at me.
They're
and
like,
I'm kind of like,
bitch, don't
it's
even
okay.
know.
It's okay. I was like, please continue your story. I won't say anything or ask any questions.
You don't have to worry.
I was just like, let me get on here and text my coworker next to me.
How much of a bitch you
right. are. Which, I was just like, okay, all right, whatever. I thought we were having a conversation, but apparently you can't ask any questions. Well, only I can't ask questions because other people didn't get.
Because she's jelly. She got that jelly.
Stop it.
She got that jelly.
Right? I don't know. I'm trying to think of the most awkward thing that I think has ever been said to me at a dinner conversation. So, I had my family from Michigan, not my mom and dad, but my extended family, which I don't actually have a relationship with due to all of these issues. But back in the day when I was much younger, I had a boyfriend who was not white. Surprise, surprise. It is what it is. I know, but apparently that was a very big deal. And so there were all of these questions, and he happened to have a kid, and I'll never forget the one awkward thing that was said to me. It was like, well, how come her hair isn't kinky? And I was like, so then the decision was made. Do I pop off?
Right, the pivotal
or
pinpoint.
do I remain in control and use this as an opportunity to teach?
What kind of family function was this?
This was Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
And thank God he was watching football because
and
didn't hear it. So I had to turn, and I used it instead as an opportunity to show, one, how ignorant you are.
One.
And then two, to educate you.
Two.
So I had to correct that. I was like, well, it's because everyone's hair is different. Her mother happens to be white. Yeah. And I was like, and he's, part Indian as well. So therefore, everyone's hair's different. We don't make assumptions either. I was like, and it's just really rude to even have said anything like that. I was like, just going forward, this is a safe space, but you should really still be conscientious of the words that you choose. Yeah. And I think I was like 20 and schooling like a 50-year-old. And then everything got really quiet. I know, but it's like
where we definitely always live in is like you have to bring people up to speed because like you want to live in that because my parents, I don't even know how this happens, but it's like it blows my mind to this day. My mom is Korean. My dad is white. From the mountains of Virginia.
Oh, he's real white.
Oh, that motherfucker is a hick. I do not go to that side. My sister and brother have totally embraced their countryside. I cannot.
Good for them.
With my life, I can't. Like, no.
You don't want some
thank you.
cowboy boots?
I do not. My sister would love that shit, but no.
Okay.
I do not.
Note to self.
This bitch is gonna buy me cowboy boots. God damn it. That was my fucking Christmas present.
I'm gonna
and
find
guess what?
some.
Those hoes will stay in my closet.
You will wear them. We will all wear them out. I will make you. Hold on. Did you not ride the bull when we went out?
No, Ashley did, because her
that's
crazy ass always wants to ride them.
No, you and I almost got in a fight. And
because,
no, it's you and I. Because people were rude. They
Yes.
said something awkward
And
that
it's
screwed
like,
up our stuff. We were
you
like,
don't fuck with us because we crazy.
We crazy.
Especially with alcohol. Like, don't fuck with me.
no, we are insane.
We will bite a bitch. We'll go Mike Tyson.
I mean,
on
I
you.
have bit people. It's like my MO. I do not mind biting
You have,
people.
yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't. I just wish my teeth were sharper. I got little dolphin teeth. All right,
But
sorry.
my crazy
Focus.
parents. Okay, so my parents, so they have like mixed children. My fiance is black. We went to my sister's wedding in California. Very beautiful. They chose to ignore the fuck out of my fiance.
Been there, done that.
Like my dad like went up because I was like, I grabbed him and I was like, this is my fiance.
You need to
Theon.
say something.
And he shook his hand and then walked the fuck up. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. That happened to Nate. So Nate came home after I had Vivica, and we went over to my grandparents, and he came home on a deployment. So it was R&R. So we're talking 2 weeks. So we went over there.
It's a
and
quick
correct.
come and go.
So my grandparents had like a barbecue that they were doing. And of course my grandma and grandpa went up to him and talked to him.
Right.
And now mind you, this was when, I mean, we're still at war, but this was in the midst of the war with the coverage and everything. He was in Iraq. Was he in Iraq? Yeah, that was the Iraq tour. And my uncles had never met him, did not say a word to him. My one aunt said something, and she was very kind. And then the cousins, of course, because they're just like spawn of Satan.
Exactly.
They ignored him too. I lost my shit. I went out in the garage, and of course, he doesn't know. Like, I'm sure he knows this now, but like at the time, he had no idea. And I'm out there chain smoking. Now, mind you, I had a baby, so like I hadn't been smoking, but suddenly now you have pushed me to that point.
Yeah, that's stress.
Where I'm like out there chain smoking. I remember my grandpa came out and he's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, let me tell you what's going on." I said, "Your rude ass MFing sons and their family."
Yeah.
I said, "My husband has been here." I said, "They have never met him." I said, "And they can't even shake his hand and say hello." I said, "Dead to me. Do not talk to me.
Yeah.
Do not look at me. Do not talk to my children."
Yeah.
Like, and he could not grasp that and kept making excuses, which is why we still don't have a relationship to this day. And, it is what it is. But they are dead to me. You're like the minimum amount of human decency that you need to have. Like, you couldn't even have that. Like, honestly, I'm so glad that I don't have a weapon, because I probably would have like just busted their heads in with it.
Off.
Yeah, I mean, because I could not believe the audacity. Because and on one hand, like, I've learned this now that I've gotten older. I would never treat someone like that, so I make the assumption that other people won't either, and that's where I screw up.
Are so hateful.
Correct.
And
good
it's
die.
Just,
Good
it's
die.
just
That's how I
so
feel about
crazy.
it.
Like,
good die.
Like my
I
parents,
just can't
I'm just
take it.
like, the fucks.
Because there's only so much I can do.
I mean, you only want me to date white, but I'm not all white.
Right.
And I'm not going to date a Korean
I don't
person
understand that.
because I'm
Like,
not all
what is
Korean.
like
it
to
didn't
me,
happen that way.
If they had a blood transfusion, would they ask the question?
Who is this from?
Oh, no,
they
I'll
wouldn't.
die before. No, you're never going to say that. Shut up. Be a
Right.
decent human being. I have
Exactly.
zero tolerance for, like, indecent human beings.
Right.
Period. Like, that is the
And
one
that's
thing.
like the people that say support the troops, but do you really?
Do you?
But
Do you? Well, and I remember they said something to me later, and I said, you're only standing here because people like my husband and my dad and the 1% that volunteer to fight for your right to say dumb shit to me. Now get the fuck out of my face. Like, I was like, because I am not like them. Yeah. I am insane, and I'll do 5 to 10 to prove a point. You want to find out?
You want to see?
You want to see. Because, like, I'll do 5 to 10 to prove a point. All it takes is one person on my jury who agrees with me. I can usually find that person. Be like, girl, you it. Okay. There it is, one person.
Is that what your sexiest quality is?
It might be. Well, you saw the connection. I mean, I actually, so that's part of my job. I do have to make connections with people. Yeah. Now, let me just specify before people get creeped out. I'm not making those kind of connections, weirdos. Not making those kind of connections, okay? Okay.
No,
it's like,
it's quality.
Correct. Like I'm talking. There's no other connections. Dang it. But no, that's a really tough question as we segue into that. So the question is what do you think your sexiest quality is? Because, like, I feel like I could answer what other people think my sexiest quality is. But
what
for
do you
me,
think
I was
you
struggling
bring to the table.
Well, so I think for me, and I've thought about this really hard, I think it's my passion. Okay. Like, I am so passionate about, like, just stuff in general. And you can tell, like, it gets me fired up. And, like, I have, like, this drive and ambition when I'm, like, passionate about something. And I think that, for me, is a really sexy piece.
Definitely.
Like, I guess I look for that in other people, too, because, like, I want that. So I would hope that that's... But I feel like that's the piece for me. Like, all physical aspects aside, like, I really feel like that's the piece. Because I am just passionate about stuff.
I think that's, like, both of ours. Like, I think that's the way we connect. Because we're, like, we get passionate. We get fired up real fucking quick.
And I don't think people get that sometimes. And it
comes off bitchy. And
it does.
Like,
it does
oh, my God. But it's,
and
like...
very opinionated.
Yeah,
but
exactly. But I think, like, it takes a different kind of man to really like that.
Right.
And that's why, like, I always call Theon, like, my opposite, because he always grounds me, because, like, I'm, like, fucking through the roof. That's why I don't have no passive aggressiveness. Like,
no, it's
either here or now, or I'm going to let it the fuck go, because I need my job.
Right. No, I totally hear you.
But, like, it's just, like, because I think we're both like that. We're just, like, chomping at the bits to, like, get our opinions out there, and, like, we need that's why we look for dudes that are, like, more grounded, that are more peaceful, more mindful, because we are like through the roof.
I couldn't imagine being with someone who had as much passion as I did, because it would just be an explosion all the time, because I get fired up. Like, injustice makes me really upset, and I want to find out how I can fix it. I am always the one, like, I'm always like, check my track record, boo. Check my resume, boo. Like, because I get what I want for the, like, because I'm a skilled negotiator, and also, like, I fight for what's right. So I get really, like, and my husband's always like, why do you care about this? And I'm like, why don't you care about it? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, but for him, you know, that's not what he's passionate about. And so I've had to learn that, though. And so that's been a challenge for me, like, to figure out, okay, all right, so I'm fired up about this. It doesn't mean people don't love me if they don't get fired up too. Like, because sometimes I'm like, if you're not angry, you don't like it either. Like, and it's a piece of me, and it's like, no, we really don't have to be upset over, like, one ply toilet paper.
But why not?
Everybody deserves 2 ply. It's about access. Everyone should have access to 2 ply.
I remember Rhonda.
Oh, Lord.
She listens to this.
She doesn't, so it's good. Fired Rhonda.
She asked us, me and Nick, I think we were chilling, and we were going to go over to her house, and she asked us to pick up toilet paper. And this bitch specified she didn't care what kind.
Oh.
So guess what she got?
She got the 99-cent kind. The one where you got to, like, fold, like, the whole roll in half so you don't poke your finger through.
I would have hated shit on that toilet paper.
Well, you know, growing up, we've talked about this before. Like, we have, I'm paranoid about not having toilet paper. But when my mom would buy some, like, it would always be the cheapest kind.
Oh, my God. Where you got to...
Yes. And then she'd always be like, who's clogging the toilet? It wasn't me. It was definitely my brother.
Probably because I have to do a fistful just to wipe my butt.
But, like, I honestly didn't buy, like, expensive toilet paper until... I don't know, recently. And even then, I'm always like, guys. Like, you need to slow down. Like, you don't need all of this. I was like, and I can tell anytime Nate goes to the grocery store, because he calls it, which drives me insane, he calls it booty ribbon. And I'm like, stop calling it that. I was like, it's so gross. It makes my, like, stomach churn.
That booty ribbon. I've heard, like, shit tickets.
No! I've never heard that one.
Oh, man, I love shit tickets.
No, booty ribbon. He calls it like that. And, of course, then he gets all the kids calling it that. And he's like, kids, go get some booty ribbon and put it in your bathroom. And I'm just like, guys, it's like my family so enjoys, like, making me uncomfortable with, like, poo talk.
I love booty. I like that now. I like shit tickets, though, because you got to rip them off. You got to tear it like a ticket. This is true.
Well, especially if it's one ply. You only get one ticket at a time. You only get one ticket at a time. Entry, not ready. Not ready for entry. And you just keep pulling them off.
Roll your fist in it.
Oh, my God. Right? God. I don't know. Yeah, so our sexiest quality, obviously, as we always go to poo
shit
talk.
Tickets.
We go to poo talk. We're like 14-year-old prepubescent boys. No. The struggle.
Whatever, man. You're not friends unless you talk about your bowel movements.
Well, first off, then I guess we're not friends because I don't have any.
I mean, you like to think that you don't, but we just talked about, toilet paper. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We're cracking it. We're never cracking it.
Well, I was going to say, I think another sexy quality that, like, both of us have is the ability to laugh at ourselves.
Oh, definitely.
Because I think that's so important.
Yes.
If you take life so seriously.
You got to take a joke, Like, jeez. Oh, my God. Especially, like, dad joke. Like, you got to be able just to laugh and find the simplest things.
Right.
Like,
Vivica told me
I love dad jokes.
That's all I deliver. And I was like,
like it.
Right. Well, first off, I was insulted. Like, let me tell you, I was like, my jokes are way better than dad jokes. And she was like, barely. And I was like, why am I getting roasted by, like, a 9-year-old? I was like, I need her to stop roasting me. Now, listen, Vivica will come for your soul, man.
She is your replica.
Oh, my. No.
She's like, you blooped.
But she's almost,
yourself.
Like, better than me. Like, and obviously as a mom, I'm like really impressed at that. But at the same token, I'm like she
you're
might
the
be.
T1.
Oh God!
And now she's
like
the T2, the better.
Whatever. We'll never let her listen to this. So, but because then her little ego will get big.
Right, exactly.
She'll straight up roast a fool all the time, and she's been roasting kids. Like she was 5, and I'll never forget. So one of Vivica's qualities might be her ability to roast people. But when she was 5, Naomi's inherently clumsy. We tease her about her weak wrist. She just is clumsy. She's especially at that stage where they're kind of like a crane.
Like a just gangle,
kind of,
just
limbs. Arms, legs, like
puberty,
the teeth
just everything isn't
everything
right.
So that's where she's at. But it was probably, I don't know, 4 years ago. And Vivica was watching a TV show with us, and it was the Life Alert commercial. And it was... The lady's like, help, I'm falling, and I can't get up. And Vivica turns deadpan to Naomi and looks at her, and she's like, you need one of those because you fall all the time, Naomi. And I about fell out because I was like, man, you 5 and roasting people. You 5 and roasting people. And Naomi was like, Vivica, I don't like you. And I was like, well, she kind of has a point.
Get used to that.
But I mean, she straight up does not care. Does not care. Vivica will roast the heck out of him. One day we should put Vivica on here and just let her talk.
Just let her talk shit.
Oh my God, she would.
I love it.
She so wants to. So apparently, on a side note, we're totally deviating.
That's okay.
I'm going to deviate a little bit. The kids know that I have a podcast, right? And I've been kind of secretive about the name because I don't want them to like figure this out. Oh no. They figured it out, went to it on YouTube, shared it with their friends in K through 8.
Oh no.
I was
this
like,
is not a K
not,
through 8. We're not even a K through 12.
No. So I was like, they were like, my friends listen to your podcast, Mom, on YouTube, and they thought you were. I said,
No.
Naomi told me this, and I said,
No, ma'am.
Pardon me. I was
No,
like,
ma'am.
first off,
Number 1.
oh, jeez. I was like, first off, so part of me was like, do they like our YouTube page? But
Right?
then I didn't ask that. Did they subscribe?
And like?
Did they subscribe and like? No? Okay. All right. But that's what I was thinking. I did not say it. But
Right.
a part of me really wanted to. But then I was like,
Right.
okay. So then we had to bring it back down to earth. And I said,
Yeah.
listen. I was
Number
like,
1. No.
I'm inappropriate with you guys.
Yeah.
I was like, and we know this.
Yeah.
But I love you and you're my children. And
Exactly.
you understand this.
But it's also to a certain point.
Correct. Like I don't need you to listen to me talk about things that are definitely adult. You are in K through 8. I was like, and I most definitely do not need you sharing that with your friends. No. And I'm like, praise. Oh, jeez, bless me. I was like, oh my, I'm gonna have to go to confession over this. I was like, listen, we can't share this. I was like, yeah, and I was like, you need to never talk about this again. I was like, and maybe your friends. Well,
I don't know.
Oh well, because they lie about their age, and their parents don't realize that they have like social media.
I guess you have to have parental control set first,
right?
Because I know our stuff is not for children. Like you have to have that setting in.
But
YouTube.
if you don't have it, then they're going buck wild.
Yeah.
So like I was like, Naomi, do not discuss this anymore in school, because I was like, we cannot have. But she was like, but my friends think it's so cool that you have a podcast. I was like, great, but they can never listen.
But when they're older.
In like 10 years, they can listen. Like I was like, are you kidding me? I was like. And so now, like, I felt all this responsibility and weight of the world, because I'm just waiting for that parent-teacher conference. So, Mrs. Long, we found out that you have a podcast, and I'll be like,
the kids were listening to.
I'll be like, prove it.
Bring that shit up right now.
Show it to me and prove it. Yes.
Right now.
I mean, no? Okay, so right now it's just a theory.
I'm going to moonwalk out, and we're going to forget all this.
Correct. My kid's doing good in school. See you next year. Oh, look, a squirrel. Like, I'm like, what's that over there? There's a kid with a backpack that's not in a mesh one. Get him. He's out of, like, what is it, uniform violation?
Yeah, that was the worst. Those mesh back, number 1. I understand why we need see-through book bags.
Do we?
Well, especially now with I don't even know. What will stop people?
Nothing.
What will stop
That's
kids
what I was
from
say.
bringing
So we had
any
2
type
to
of
3,
paraphernalia
so I'm
to
plugged into
school.
that. So we had 2 to 3 incidents last year where kids actually brought handguns to school, recorded themselves in the classroom. And, this was in our high schools here in our county. And they have clear backpacks. They have those pieces. So my pieces is
that's like the war on drugs.
I struggle with this topic,
doesn't fucking work. You're not getting to the roots of the problem. You're trying to make definitely, because you're trying to make like little roadblocks in between, but you're not getting to the root of the problem, which is the fucking problem.
Correct.
Which is what would stop all of this.
Right.
But you want to roll around and say thoughts and
pussyfoot around it, basically.
Which is just
I can't deal with that.
Fucking worst.
But I mean,
shit ever.
my kids had a security guard all last year because they had some threats at their school, which is insane because it's a K through 8. So every day, I worry about sending my kids to school, and we talk about those things. And so, like, when I ask them, and they do the school shooter simulation, so I asked them about that, and I said, how do you feel doing that? And they were like, well, we're all supposed to be in this one room together. And I was like, well, here's my thing.
To huddle in a corner.
I'm going to tell you right now. I said, if you suspect something like that is going on, if you are not already in a safe space, I said, you need to get the hell out of that building as quick as possible.
Worst part, I think, is people knew things.
Right.
But don't say say things.
Right. And
because
so we talked about that piece, too.
They don't keep that stuff to themselves. Like, as kids, like,
no.
you got to, information is out there. So you have to put your information 100%.
Out there. Those are the conversations I have with my kids.
So
like, I tell them all the time.
Say something.
You have to be brave.
You have to.
I was like, and these are pieces. And I was like, and sometimes you may lose a friend. You may lose a lot of friends if you're wrong. I was like, but friends come and go. I said,
But they said something, and you'd rather be safe than sorry.
And that's what I've said 1,000 times. I was like, you just cannot, do any of those things. So my kids, like, I have those open conversations, but it makes me wonder how many other parents are having those open conversations with their kids.
I'm pretty sure a lot more now. Because, I mean,
I would hope
going to Effingham County, my senior year, we were getting quote unquote bomb threats.
Yeah.
Like, once a fucking month. And then they were like, you're going to have to make up these days if you keep doing this. And guess what? They stopped.
Well, see,
that was just like call-in bomb threats, quote unquote. But that wasn't like fucking firearms in our like we had those drills where we hid under the desk,
which is so scary, like so sad to me because I graduated in 99 and so ours was the first year. I remember when Columbine happened. Like that was the same year that Columbine happened. And so for us, things were completely different. We didn't have those drills. So, like, when I talk to my kids about these things and they see it and they become desensitized over it, I just am like...
that's the problem.
And that's what's so scary. You know, so... God, it's such a struggle. But I always tell my kids, I'm like, listen, I know that... Like, and I'm such a rule breaker in general, but I feel like sometimes we do things like, so we had to practice ours because I happen to work somewhere where we have to practice the same type of drill. And so we had to practice our drill. Oh, yeah. And you want to know what their solution was?
I was just like what?
Let me tell you what their solution was, though. Yeah. And I remember I argued with our campus, like, police officer, and I said, I'm not doing this.
Right.
Was for everyone to go out the one door and march out into the woods together. And I said, no.
How?
Just no. I said, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll do this drill because you need me to do this drill. I said, but I don't know what's out there. I said, I am going to do what I feel is best. I was like, and y'all can come either find my body or find me later.
Right.
Like, I was like, because I am not doing any of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just hit the mic.
It's all good. But there's no way. Because I remember marching through these woods thinking, this is so bullshit. Stupid. Like, I'm not going to do this.
In the open.
And of course, everyone else is this is me, the awkward, making the conversation awkward. Everyone else is falling in line. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this for real. And they're just like, Rachel, could you not, like, get it? I was like, I am in line. I am in line. I was like, and I'm doing the drill, but I'm not actually going to do it in real life. Like, I need you to understand that. And they were just like, God, you are so obstinate. And I was like, I am.
We had, like, wooden planks that they made specifically to jam the door, so you couldn't open it from the.
I hate that this is our kids' life.
That is so crazy. Yeah, but I mean, like, I was an adult I was just like, but as like a kid, because you go through what we went through was tornado or hurricane drills and maybe like
a fire drill,
a lockdown because Effingham crazy and we got a bunch of meth dumbasses out there. But a lockdown because one lockdown. Just tell this story. I know we deviated so far off the track,
but whatever.
This one fucking kid dipped during school. So we had, he did it at the end because we were about to
skipping a class, and then it was a lockdown?
No, not dip.
Oh,
not that dip.
Oh, like dipping tobacco
in his lip.
Oh, I thought you meant like peace out.
No,
that's what I mean.
That would have been cool. No, he did tobacco in his mouth, and it was like near the end of the day because he was like, I'm about to get on the bus, I don't give a fuck. So he put the fucking tobacco in his mouth. Lockdown, motherfuckers.
Oh.
So he swallowed it.
Oh my God,
because of course, I mean, shit,
what are
we're underage.
Right.
This is in high school. Your dumbass shouldn't have no fucking canned tobacco.
I mean, I had
It's
cigarettes.
disgusting.
I get it, right.
Yeah, but it's disgusting. Like, you can obviously smell that stuff. My dad I don't know if he still does it. I haven't, like, been around my dad like that, but he used to dip, so I can smell that menthol mint shit. I'm just like, motherfucker, swallows it. So they open up our door. You know, the dog comes. We all come out, and the dog comes in, sniffs our backpacks. Before we get to that, this dumbass throws up because you just swallowed a whole dip, like a whole finger thing of tobacco. You go blat in the middle of the fucking room.
What's that, sir?
And guess what? I actually don't know what the fuck happened to him. I didn't follow up on that shit. I didn't give it.
Maybe
We didn't have social
enough.
media like that.
Right.
I didn't give a fuck. I saw him the next day anyways. Or the next weekend. Or like after that. I don't give a fuck.
That is so gross.
He just goes, meh. But I mean, like, that's the shit. But now you have to add in shooter drills. Which is crazy.
I know.
Like, I can understand the hurricane and the fucking tornado and fire. Of course, that shit happens.
I know.
But something that's preventable, calm the fuck.
I know. I'm hoping in the next generation, though, that we really have some answers for that. Like, I'm such a forever optimist, even though my bad attitude.
Don't deal with the outside.
Right.
You can't deal with the leaves.
I know. And on one hand, you know, I struggle. Like, every day I send my kids to public school, and I'm a huge advocate for public school. Yeah. Like, that's really a big piece. I'm passionate about education, you know, from birth to 12, actually, and beyond. And that's, like, one of my big pieces. But, like, I get so frustrated when we know what we should be doing, and we're not doing it. So, you know, but that's why you got to get involved.
Exactly.
So, you know, there's the pieces that I, like,
especially
I do it, I am involved. I am
especially
playing
with
those
the
roles
involvement, and we know what next year is. We got this.
Just register to vote. I don't really give a shit who you vote for. Just register, please, and actually vote. So, yeah, since we deviated, what else we got? I know. We get on our soapbox. We could stand there all day. That's fine. I think it's fine.
I think people assume we are bitches when they first they don't even meet us. Well,
maybe for Esther it's an assumption. For me, you are correct. You are correct.
I get that a lot. They're like, you know, I didn't really think you liked me.
Yeah, because you and I both have RBF.
Like, well, look.
Because we give people the side eye. Because I'll tell you where that comes from, though. That comes from other people wronging us. Yeah. So we're not quite sure.
From life.
Right.
Yeah, I'd rather
life
get to
sucker
know you
punched
first,
us in the face a few times.
Maybe
and
we'll
like,
be friends, maybe not.
Right.
But I'll get to know you.
I think people assume about me. Well, one, they assume I'm a bitch, which, maybe that's not a bad assumption. I would rather you assume
in what situation?
That. Right. Well, because at the end of the day, I'm really not. Like, I am probably one of the nicest people you actually may ever meet. But I have to have this really tough exterior.
You first, yeah.
No, well,
you're not
to protect
know
myself.
Yeah.
Like, that's my, MO. So I have this really tough exterior or whatever. But if you are in my circle, like, I'll give you the clothes off my back. Like, there is not anything that I wouldn't do for you if I love you and all of those other pieces. And I am a huge, I'm so empathetic to other people's plights and stuff because, you know, I've been through it. Life sucks sometimes, man. Like, I will always provide a listening ear. And I'm not instantly argumentative, which I think people think that about me a lot of times. They make assumptions that, like, I'm instantly going to be very defensive or whatever, but I'm not. Like, I'm always open to hearing somebody else's opinion. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's really cool. I disagree with you, but, you know, you're entitled. Like, I don't ever want to make someone feel uncomfortable. I had someone tell me one time that they had assumed I was a huge bitch and that I wasn't that smart either. That's the one I get all the time. So I happen to have my hair. My hair is blonde right now. I'm a natural brunette, but I actually look great as a blonde. So, I mean, I really embrace it. Plus, you got to hide those platinum grays. I call them platinums now because they platinum.
These hoes out here, I don't give a shit.
I know you don't, but I do because I am narcissistic.
I wear my platinums.
It is what it is. I do not like my platinums. I like them to blend. So
bitch lived. Bitch lived. I don't give a fuck.
But I think once people get to know me and they realize that, like, I'm kind of a jokester and I make jokes and I think things are funny.
That's like a really big thing.
They assume I'm dumb.
People take
that all the time.
the
I'm not
sarcasm
dumb.
and the joking a little too seriously.
Right.
So they're like,
Yeah.
eh.
I
And it's
hate
like,
though when people assume I'm dumb. It's always like, oh, that's cute. Underestimate me. That'll
Right,
be fun.
exactly.
And
I
that's
got your
usually
ass.
how it happens. And then I've had people say to me, they were like, I didn't realize you were actually really that smart. Yeah, fool. I'm Mensa, except when it comes to talking, like Mensa qualified, okay?
Yeah.
But like, I don't need to I don't feel the need to put it on my like,
Exactly.
Letterman jacket.
I
like,
know what
it is
I
what it
know.
is. Right.
And don't try me in those
Right.
areas.
Well, I love that though when people come for me and they're like, "Oh, well, you don't need to do this," and I'm
And
like, "But
wop.
wait,
And walk.
skirt." Well,
Got you.
first of all, is how I like to. First of all, and then you know you're about to get
I
schooled.
accept your opinion, but let me tell you some real shit.
Right. I've always gotten to, so when I went through puberty early, so I remember being like in 7th grade and seeing my shadow and thinking, what is that? And I was touching around and I realized it was my breast. And I was like, holy smokes, man. Where did these things come from? It was like the summer before 8th grade.
Right.
At that point, once I got breast, it was like everyone assumed I was fast and was going to do, but that was never the case.
Exactly.
And I got called, so my maiden name happens to be like Morgan. And so they called me Rachel Horgan in high school, which was so terrible because I had 2 boyfriends through high school. That was it.
Right.
Like, I was never that girl.
I think that's
ever.
like
but because
really
I had
bad,
breast and I was shaped like a woman early on, I got called
like,
that.
Young girls play into that too. And I think that's a really bad like issue. Well, number one, it comes from the boys because they're not taught
right
correctly.
But the girls also
and then
hated
the girls
me because
go
of that.
into that exactly because then like they feel
made these
that jealous.
assumptions.
Well, yeah, because the guys are like they're teasing you, but they're also paying attention to you.
Correct.
And it's like, well, I don't have that, so yeah, she's a slut, she's a hoe,
which is so terrible. Girls, if you are illegally listening to us in K through 12, stop. But if you're going to continue listening, listen. Just because everyone matures at a different rate, just because a girl has breasts doesn't necessarily mean she's a hoe. Now, there are some girls with breasts who are hoes. I mean, but don't make the assumption. Let them prove it to you. Yes, correct. Some girls don't have boobs and are hoes too. It is what it is. But like, try to be kind to one another because you don't realize what someone's going through. Typically, if you're acting out promiscuously at that age, you've got some trauma in your life that's not being addressed. So just be kind to one another. I mean, geez. Definitely. I hate that assumption, though. Now that I'm like an adult and I have 3 kids and my kids look different, people make assumptions about me and my children, which really
you got the
bother
fire
me.
red oldest,
right? My oldest happens to have red hair, tan skin, and like green eyes, and then my other 2 happen to have brown hair, brown eyes. With tan skin, it is what it is. So, but people are always making the assumption that her father is not her father. He is. Like all 3 of my kids have the same dad. Not that whatever, to each their own.
Don't have to prove you.
Exactly. Not knocking anyone who has more than one baby dad or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You do you, boo.
Life is life.
Right. But my kids happen to have the same father. Yeah. And I'll never forget, I was out with Naomi when she was a baby, and her hair was like this and they called it baby chimpanzee red. Like, that was the color that it was. I know, he's terrible, right? That's how I know. Like, he's terrible. He's just as equally as bad as I am. So, but he was like, because it stuck out on all angles, just like a baby chimpanzee, and then it happened to be that color, and so she's got this olive color skin and these green eyes, and so we were out shopping together, and the one was like, "Oh my gosh, your baby is so beautiful," and I was like, "Thanks," and she was like, "The father," and I was like,
"Oh, the father is right here.
The father is behind me. He is her father," and she was like, "Oh," because they make the assumption, and
did he have hair then?
No.
Well, then how do you know what fucking hair he
Well, because, like, he was so much tanner, and here's this
right.
baby who is not quite so tan with this bright red hair, and you're making an assumption that, like, this is an all-white baby. It's not. It is what it is.
Right.
So but, like, I had to tell Naomi that piece, so that leads into, like, what people are going to assume about Naomi.
Exactly.
And my kids. So my kids have come up to me multiple times, and they're like, "Mom, what do I mark when I go to like
the race?
Right.
Oh man,
and
I've had
said,
troubles with this too.
Right. And let me get on my little soapbox here. I had to do a survey for work about 2 years ago, and I'll never forget. They gave me about 10 gender options, and then 5 race options. And I remember being like, okay, great. We're really progressive on the gender, but why are we still failing on the race?
I would always have to do other.
Right. And so that's what I have to tell my kids. And so I think it was Naomi who told me that her teacher told her that she needs to mark white. And
the fucks.
Oh, yeah.
I wish a teacher would.
Because they saw her mark other, and they were like, Naomi, why, like, you're marking other? And they were like, don't you need to mark white?
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're making
did
assumptions.
You birth me?
Correct. So Naomi's like, but I'm like West Indian as well. And she was like, yeah, well, and I was like, what did you do? And Naomi's like, I just stayed with other. And I was like, well, I'm good.
Good for you.
Like, but then I was like, now I got to go up to school again.
Now we got to
school some ignorant. Like, I mean, it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I have to tell them, like, because they are paler, and we are in the South, that sometimes they may end up hearing things that are going to make them have to choose. So, like, they're friends, and I was like, you cannot sit there and be friends with someone who says something like that. That is not, one, what we believe. 2, we will never tolerate that. And I was like, and your father is like brown. We cannot have this. And so she said that people have come, like he came to pick her up one time and he had to go into the lunchroom. And she was like, oh, I got to go. My dad's here. And they, like, her friends looked around. They were like, I don't see your dad. And she was like, well, there he is right there. And he happened to have his uniform on with his last name and everything. And they were like, that's your dad? Like, they were all shocked. And she was like, yeah. And she was like, Mom, it just made me really, and I was like, God, it starts so early.
It does.
Stop it. Don't make assumptions.
Because, like, when I moved, I don't know about schools now, but when I moved down here, well, when we were in Virginia, I lived in apartments that had, like, Asians, Hispanics, like, we were very diverse.
Right.
And then when I came, even in Virginia, well, we lived in, like, Richmond Hill, so it was near the Capitol, stuff like that. So it wasn't like...
You mean Richmond, not Richmond Hill.
No, it was, Richmond,
okay,
Virginia.
Excuse me. Like, Richmond Hill is our tiny little
I was at work earlier.
Area.
I've done a lot with Richmond Hill.
Okay. Richmond, Virginia, which is very diverse. You're right.
Yeah, and then coming down here, where I'm like, we were the only Asians.
I was going to say, there's not a whole lot of, we do not have a big Asian population here.
There was like,
even
Georgia. Hispanics when I came down here, there wasn't.
We don't have a very large Hispanic population here either.
Well, it's coming up.
It's getting larger.
Down,
right, which is great.
But when I moved down here, no. There was like a Chinese family, but those were younger than me.
Yeah.
And then there was one other like Asian chick, but she was like my brother's grade, so like once they graduated,
right, so you were like one of the only Asians there?
Basically, like other than me, my sister and my brother and my little brother, like us, and then like a bunch of whites.
Well, it is getting better. So when you look at demographically, Georgia's a lot like Michigan in this way, and I've realized that, especially in my job, like what I get to do and stuff, so I get to go everywhere. But Georgia, when you look at the state overall, you're like, oh, okay, we've got a really diverse population here. But what we don't realize until... Well, no, in general, the state actually is pretty diverse. Like, when you look at the numbers, like, on our stats, it is actually pretty diverse. But what people don't realize is when they come here, and just like in Michigan, we're diverse, but we're still segregated. And what was so funny, I happened to go in and talk to a high school last week, and they don't have assigned seats. And the kids, even still to this day, are doing some of that natural segregation. And I'm just like, okay. And I guess because growing up
very white and black, and then if you're in between, you just kind of wrangle in between
your party. I guess.
I had both friends,
right?
And it was just like a wash.
And for me, growing up as a military child, as a military brat, everybody
it's
none of
everything.
That, right? Yeah. So it didn't matter. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful for the military life and that piece. But at the same token, I'm like, am I doing my kids a disservice by not allowing, and I'm not saying my kids are, I'm raising my kids. So my kids have seen my huge group of diverse friends. They know that it's okay to and I don't even want to use the word okay, but we embrace anyone regardless. Right. And it is what it is. And I have open conversations, but not everyone is on that level. No. So it's interesting because I have had to have kids basically, I told my daughter at one point, I said, she can't come over anymore. I was because while you may not realize this, I was like, I do, and we're not those type of people, and we're not going to have that sort of influence in your life. Yeah. I was like, because there were one or two comments that were clearly straight from the parents' mouth into the mouths of babes. And then I've had to correct those comments. And she wasn't upset over it. But at the same token, what do you go? I was like, she can come over here. It's fine, but you won't be going over there.
Definitely.
So those
parents
my
are
kids
obviously
did not get that point until probably the past 2-3 years. And it those are shitty conversations. I hate having those.
You really have to crack your knuckles and do a couple of bends.
Well, and they always seem to happen after I've had 2 or 3 bottles of wine. So then I'm like, shit, now I gotta have this serious ass conversation. And I'm like, everyone sit down. Well, I mean, I'm loose, but then I'm swearing too much. And of course, thank God my kids understand that I use these as adjectives and they're just colorful words and they're not allowed to say them. It is what it is. In fact, funnily enough, Vivica says to me, she was like, Mom, if the zombie apocalypse happened and I swear if I had to kill a zombie, would I be in trouble? And I said, yes. How old are you? And she was like, 9, almost 10. I said, are you killing the zombie right now? And she was like, well, yeah. And I said, okay, first off,
you're in trouble.
I was like, and we don't swear. And she was like, what? Are you kidding me? It's a zombie apocalypse. I was like, I don't give a damn. We're still going to uphold our morals.
Standards.
Right? I was like, but she was like, but you say it. I was like, I pay all the effing bills up in this house.
Right?
I had to go up. I was like, don't tell me.
I've had you little bitches.
Right. You little crumb snatchers, get out of here.
I've had you. I can cuss. I can do whatever.
Right.
I've earned the right.
Exactly. That's why I literally was like, and I pay the bills. This is my house. I'll say what I want. And my mom even had the argument with me. She was like, well, you should lead by example. And I said,
and let's
you did?
Talk about your example.
I was like, well, maybe I'm just following in your footsteps. She was like, I gotta go. I was like, I bet you do have to go.
I wish my mom would say some shit like that. I'd be like, okay, let's sit down. Do you want this?
Right.
You want this? I mean, that just goes back to you just can't tell people how to parent their children. I mean, the awkward conversation. You don't tell someone how to parent their children or that their children isn't as good as someone else's children.
No, just support each other. I really, like I said, this is the assumption that people make about me, that I'm horrible and judgy and all those other things. Sometimes, I am. But I always do try to lift people up. Damn,
exactly.
It's sometimes somebody needs just you to say, listen, my kids were terrorists too.
Yeah.
And we'll all get through this together. Would you like a glass of wine?
What do you need? What can I help you with?
Yeah, finding mom friends. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I know. No, it's okay. You're one of my. Well, you don't have any kids, but you're still my friend. It doesn't matter. But moms who tried to find. This is a real topic that happens all the time, and we're totally diverting from our questions. It's hilarious. Whatever. Oh well. So
people can assume mom life because I just think because I'm not a mom. And
what do you think
that's
my life is like?
Well, I mean, just moms in general, but I know Rhonda kind of feels alone because I don't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't connect to her on that level. And I feel really bad.
Well, you can
in
have
a way. I said in a way.
She was about to throw punch me.
No. In a way, because she was always like, you can have one with me. And I was like, skirt? The fuck?
I will not be doing that.
This hoe ain't gonna have no one with you. Sorry.
Yeah.
But, like, and I feel bad about that because, like, then she, like, I don't know, like, any other friends that she has that have kids other than, like, her cousin Summer and then you. Yeah. And, like, I feel a little off in that subject when you guys talk about kids and stuff like that. But that's okay with me because I don't want any.
Right. Well,
but then, like, I feel like that loneliness also because it's just like
you're left
in
out
both
of
ways.
That conversation.
Yeah, in both ways because I can't put anything to it. But then, like, it's also a loneliness because you guys,
stuff about Andre.
I don't have kids, so that little thing is just sleeping in a damn donut right now.
We
he
would
don't care.
Listen to it.
But I mean, it's just like I don't think you guys feel that you can share. Well, I know you can.
Yeah, well, I just share with anyone.
But I feel like Rhonda's like can't like come to me and be like, "Yo, like
the kids were assholes.
Junior was doing this,
and I
Remy
just want to run away." Right.
Which I can feel with her on a different level, but not on that same level.
Right.
So it's just like I feel bad about that a little bit, but I don't want kids, so. My mother-in-law has finally stopped asking.
Aunt. Yay.
Exactly, that's what...
You just be the crazy aunt. Every kid needs, like, a crazy aunt.
Yeah, but I think, like, there's not enough, like, on that connection level. Because, like, you definitely need friends that are on that level.
Well, you
and
do.
She does have you, and she has her cousin.
Yeah.
And, like... things like that, but then it's just like, man, then I feel left out.
I know.
But I'm not getting in that conversation either way.
Listen, we can always deed over one of mine. They're partially grown. Which one do you want?
I know, like your kids would be fucking cool.
Right? See, so that's what I'm saying. I'm clearly not doing something absolutely terrible. That's where it comes to the assumption. Well, and then, so on that very same note, the assumption about that piece.
Exactly, because everybody, like... Because you never raise your kids to someone else's standards, no matter how close they are to you. Like, everybody has their own way of raising children.
Right.
And, like, even with, like, influences, like, my mom was Korean, so she had that influence behind her. And then when we were with my dad, he had his old homegrown hillbilly shit with him, so he was always told us he was gonna put his foot up our ass and shit, and I was like,
I just said this literally 2 hours before I left here. Just saying. I was like, if you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna put my foot in your ass.
Boot, because he was
military,
actually said so he was like,
because I happen to have on my
put
boots.
this whole boot up your ass. I was like, how is
the
dynamics on that shit?
My kids know that is never going to happen. Like, it is just an idle threat that I use for you to get the hell out my face.
Exactly.
Like, but where you're going, like with the having your own little tribe, it's important. Yeah. It's important. And then when you're in those tribes, like, I can't tell you how many times I have made qualifying decisions, and maybe it's my bad for assuming things about other people, but most of the time I'm right. Just saying. Where I have asked, like, qualifying questions to see if they could fit in my mom tribe. So, like, one of them is do you have any questions? Like, when you meet new people, if they can fit into your tribe? Because that's on the flip side, what do people assume about us?
About you, yeah.
And then what are we assuming about other people?
Exactly. Well, I think so, because, like, I like to be quiet and closed until I know how you are and how you move.
I didn't think you liked me for a really long time.
And that's what everybody says. But
You're more of an introvert.
I'm a Virgo. Yeah. And I'm a Virgo to a point, and, like, I don't like to show my emotions or how I feel about stuff or like pour out my heart
Really?
until I know.
Really?
Until
I'm making
I
a crazy
know.
face right now.
Well, if it's anger, then I'm there.
Oh,
but if
what-
it's like my
instant.
real life shit, yeah.
She's like, we know
But like
everything's
my
good.
real life feelings, other
Yeah.
than just complete anger, like that's 100. I'm going for that. But like other than that, like love and caring and stuff like that, that's a little different for me, because like growing up I was just like, I don't know how to show this shit, so I still
Right.
don't understand that, and that's like a communication thing. But that's how everybody says, like, oh, I thought you hated me, and it's like, no, I just like to be in the background until I see how you move.
Right.
And if I see we're moving together, then I'm going to hug you. I'm going to embrace you. Like, I'm doing everything in life for you. Yeah, Esther the molester comes, and your parts are in my hands.
That's how you know you've made it into the
Yeah.
circle. When you get molested.
When you get molested, you're in.
You're in. Come over here. Oh my god.
But legit, like, I like to be in the background until I got, because that's when you really see people. Like, we were talking about relationships and shit. Like, when you live with someone, that's when you really see them.
Right.
Because that's when they really open up. Because when I'm just visiting you, I'm fake as fuck.
Oh.
I'm like,
right.
oh my God.
Oh, here, let me help you in the
yes.
kitchen. I
Yeah.
hate the kitchen. Like,
when you live with me, I ain't gonna do shit.
right. I mean, that's 100%
Like, you
though.
really know people when you observe them for a while. Like,
Right.
People start to open and crack.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm always the last to crack, because I'm always in the background.
You
like,
are the last to crack. I will tell you, as I've gotten older, I just
Mm-hmm.
don't have time for it anymore. Like, and I'm not saying this to be mean. Like,
Right.
I do my qualifying questions. I kind of, and one of them is like, how do you feel about goodie bags and kids' birthday parties? Like, and if
shouldn't
you're
happen
one of those
if
people,
you're fucking there. Oh, well, I don't
who
have
has
kids, so I
to
don't know
play-
if I
right.
have a good opinion.
But,
But
I mean,
Jesus fucking
like,
Christ, you're here. That's your goodie bag.
correct. Like, that's the type of mom I am. Like, I will always 100%. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not also not going to judge you. Listen, did you buy the wine and then the formula at the same time? And did you pour yourself both 2 bottles at the same time? Listen, you're fine.
Legit.
I'll drink it with you. Hell, if you
Legit.
want to and we're that drunk, we'll drink it out the baby bottle. I don't give a damn. But, like,
We'll see who
I'm
sucks
that
faster.
friend,
Make it a
like,
game.
who will bring, and it's funny because of when, we just had Halloween not too long ago. And so,
Yeah.
I'm sitting out there handing out candy, and I got my candy, which is this giant ass bottle of wine, and I'm just and there were so many moms, which is so funny. They were like, "That's what I need to do next year," and I'm like, "Girl, you want a glass? Like, here, I'll give you a little."
I got
was like,
you.
"Take a little swig, you're good."
Right.
Like, but they were just. I was like, "Why don't you walk around with it?" I was like, they were like, "I can do that," and I was just like.
You're questioning?
Listen, you
then
can
we
do
need
whatever.
to- We need you under our wing.
I know. And so I'm that bad influence mom who's just like
got
finally allows these moms
there's
like
these
the
cute
opportunity
tumblers you can get
to
and
let.
it'll keep
That's
your
what I
wine
said.
cool.
And
Like,
nobody knows there's wine in there. Like, but I'm like that mom who like
Yeah.
allows the moms to
look.
finally admit that one,
Right.
their kids are assholes sometimes. This is a
Yes.
fact. Kids
One.
are assholes sometimes.
Number 1.
2, sometimes you feed them cereal for 3 days in a row for breakfast, lunch, and
Number
dinner,
2.
and it's okay.
Guess what? They
And
like it.
and they do.
They
And guess
like
what?
that.
You only had to do bowls.
I loved it.
You only, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, there are things
Number
where you're
2.
not like making your own baby food. It's okay.
Boom.
You don't have to make your own baby food.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm that
That's
mom
aggressive.
who you can. Oh no.
Well, I don't have a kid, but I know, like, I'm just like, meh, I
That's
just
why I
would
struggled.
think that's aggressive.
I struggled though so
I don't
much
even make
because
my
when
own
I,
fucking food.
Thank you.
From
Where,
scratch. The fuck?
like
No.
DoorDash. Anyone? That's what I'm
Right.
talking
Well,
about.
like-
But I mean, when I first had kids, though, I really struggled with that. I had friends, I'm using quotations here, who would like make their own baby food. Here's the deal. I went back
if
to
I had
smoke.
the time.
Oh no, there was so much judgment. I went back, and I'm not the best mom. I'll admit it all the time. Like,
No one
I
is.
always have, but my kids know that they're loved. They know that they're loved. Their
Exactly.
needs are met,
Yeah.
and I spend time with them, and we have meaningful relationships. So
the
the fact
important
that I
part.
took Phenermine and smoked cigarettes afterwards and breastfed solely to lose weight, okay, judge me if you want to, but have a conversation with my kid before you're sitting over here judging the type of mom that I am. Yeah, I might be a little bit selfish, but you also didn't carry like 3 babies in a row. I was pregnant for 3 out of 4 years of marriage. Like I did 6 years of diapers in a row. So on the last one, if I took that phentermine and went back to chain smoking and used that as my diet, done. So what? Don't hate me. Instead, say, you know what, girl? How about I watch your kids so you can go to the store for an hour and or go work out? How about you support me or sleep
or just
or
sleep
whatever?
For a fucking hour.
You know what? Seriously,
and I feel bad because like I know Rhonda is struggling and stuff like that, but I don't know how to fucking take care of a baby. You want me to do?
Well, I was going to watch them the other night, but apparently they had to reschedule, and she said it was too late. And I offered,
and I think
but she
like
feels
a mom
bad.
Thing.
There is. You do feel really guilty. So, like, we have to get past that point, and I am guilty of this myself because I'm like, they're my kids, they're my responsibility. I'll take care of them. But for a long time, I was like a mom martyr, and so that made me miserable. And now I want to encourage all you moms is if someone in your village is
if someone says
offering,
I will
take it.
Then be
and
like,
if you know a mom who's not going to accept the help, show up. Show up at their house and say, I need you to go upstairs and take a nap. I've got the kids. Because I'm that type of mom who will never tell you I'm struggling, but have been struggling, where I just wanted 5 minutes to myself. And if someone would have shown up and said that to me and bossed me upstairs, I would have followed your directions. But I'm never going to ask you for it.
And I feel bad because I can't do that to Rhonda right now.
I know.
But when the kids are older, like I wouldn't mind taking Remy out.
Oh,
well, no, because she still needs a car seat, right? They do that now because I didn't
you
need
do
like
that until like basically till you're in high school if you're a small grower.
Because
like,
when we were little, it was like, yo,
boss
that seatbelt real quick.
Right. But I mean, it's all cool.
It's like
she
so
could transfer
now.
The car seats. It's fine.
So different
She'll
now.
gladly do it. Like
but
there's
I would
pieces.
love to take Remy out because she's a little bit older. Like
I'll go with you and I'll deal with the baby because I've had the 3. So at this point, I'm like the baby whisperer.
Because I have felt bad that I don't have that experience because I never babysat it either. Like I don't. Like I've never had.
Well, you
that
were a
mom,
middle child, right? And it's not
and
necessarily the role,
thing.
right?
So my older sister,
I mean, it makes sense.
She was like MOD, like in charge, basically, like all the time. So she always wanted the kids and stuff like that. Like for me, I was like, shit, be lucky if I get married.
We're still waiting.
Oh my God. Well, I'm engaged, goddammit.
For the past 10 years. There's this. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. 6 years. Listen, you do whatever makes you happy.
I mean, it's
I only want you to get married so that I can wear a fly-ass dress and get drunk as hell at the party.
And that's all it's going to be.
I mean, that's what's up.
But yeah, like the whole kid thing, like, I'm so sorry, Rhonda.
It's all good. You know what? We'll take them and we'll just deal with them.
And I think a lot more people are choosing not to have children.
Well, financially,
too, so
they can't necessarily afford it either. Our student loan rates. I mean, we could go. Oh my God, this might be a secondary podcast because this mug is long.
Oh yeah, so sorry.
We could go off. We might have to talk about that next time.
I mean, but like, I think more people are choosing. Well, not really. It's not really a choice. Like, I just don't feel that need, and I don't feel the maternal need of having
then you
kids.
Shouldn't
as
have any.
Exactly, and that's what I hate when people are like, "Oh, you're not married. Oh, you're not having kids."
Stop making assumptions about what's best for other people and just be like, "Oh, you're not married? Awesome."
Well,
or, "Oh, hey, what are you? Well, how about? Why don't you tell me about yourself instead of, oh, you're not married?
Yeah.
Like, tell me what you're interested in.
Oh, you don't have kids, but
people
you're 30.
don't have to get married nowadays.
It's
although, as a mom, I'm all like, I got double standards because I'm
number one, my children.
No, I mean, you want
what's best,
right? And so, like, and you want to set that example. So, like, it is a catch-22. I struggle with that.
It is. I mean, on either side, it's just like meh. And I think a lot of parents, like, nowadays definitely struggle with that because it's like with social media and stuff like that. It's just like
there's this huge
don't put yourself out there,
piece.
but
so
kind
on
of like
that very same
I'll let
note,
you do this,
right?
Yeah.
So the Elf on the Shelf is coming out. We have an
elf. That thing is so... Oh, you do? That thing is so scary.
It's scary to me. I'm bringing it over and
Bitch,
place
I
it in our house.
I wish you would. Flips the table. I will Hulk this table up.
Is the laziest mofo elf, and I'm sure my
Does he do like one little pose and then another one?
This fool barely moves around. Like, I mean, he moves around. In fact, like
does he need to?
I mean,
is the elf really supposed to?
All right, so the whole pretense behind the elf is that the elf is supposed to help keep
naughty?
the kids in line.
I don't understand.
Some of the elves like to play pranks, and there's the elves go through these elaborate setups.
I've seen some, and I'm confused.
I think it's so cute that some families' elves do all that. Now, my elf is a lazy MFer. He don't move from the spot until like somebody says, "Hey, man, the elf hasn't moved in like 5 days," and I'm like, "Oh,
are you sure?"
I was like, "I think its head twitched," and they're like, "But Mom, I'm thinking that like, oh, I know I'm terrible." Like, I mean, our elf is just lazy as hell. Like, he lost his hat.
Okay, so when are you?
When does the elf move? The elf moves at night because that's when he goes back to report things to Santa.
Like after Thanksgiving or December 1st?
So we pulled our elf out. Well, here's the whole thing. It doesn't make in general, I'm just going to say this. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have the elf out only during Christmas time.
Right. If I'm going to put the effort, you going to get this effort.
Every day. Like the elf 365. But like that's a lot of effort for those families whose elves are serious workaholics and actually have setups and stuff. Now my elf, he currently is sticking out of a birdhouse with his head.
How long has he been there? Oh, you guys put up decorations.
2 days ago.
You guys put up decorations.
Yeah, and he hasn't moved. I think I saw his eye twitch, but I mean,
you freak.
I'm the worst. I really am. But no,
shit.
I'm telling you.
Eye twitch.
Well,
I'd be like,
I didn't really see his eye twitch. I'm telling the kids so that way they don't know what a crappy parent I am. But some elves, they have elaborate setups where and they do
them,
pranks.
And does your kid really remember that?
Oh, I'm sure they do. It's probably the highlight of their childhood. I promise you. Listen,
your kid doesn't remember that
Esther
shit.
doesn't know right now, but what she doesn't realize is that my elf's failure to elf basically is going to result. Oh yeah, it's going to result in some therapy session. I swear to God, when it comes up, I'll hit record because I promise you, it's going to come up.
Well, now, but when they get older, like when you ask them when they're 22 and be like, "Yo, you remember that elf on the shelf?"
Well, maybe if our podcast is still around, at that point, we'll ask my children about our elf.
It's not far away. We will.
Whoa. Oh my God, it's not.
All right, I'm sorry. Well, I just triggered Rachel. I'm sorry. That's why I don't have kids and I don't talk about kid shit. Because I just triggered her. I'm sorry.
And she was like, it's not that far away. And then I did the math. I was like, oh my God, it's not. It's 9 years away for Naomi.
Well, I'm
and
saying,
I was like,
we can kick this. Well, I was talking podcast.
Oh.
That's why
but
I don't talk about
22 is 9 years away. So I was like, it is not that far away when you really think about it. All right, I'm getting depressed. I think we fulfilled the cards. We fulfilled something because we deviated.
I mean, we filled.
Right. We failed life or
we
filled life? Well, I was going to say we're failing life too. It's all good.
Filled it. We've stuffed it.
Like a turkey. And now I'm going to go home and elf it.
What are you going to make him do? Are you going to make him go in some
evacuate the bird house and
just
find a
stand
new
in
location?
Front of the birdhouse with his arms open?
Listen, I told you, my elf is a lazy shit. He has a 3-letter name. It's Sam. He's the laziest damn elf ever.
Oh, I thought you meant elf.
Wait, what's standing? Who the hell is standing in front of the birdhouse?
You said 3-letter name. I thought you meant
elf.
elf.
His name. oh shit, that should have been a good name for the elf. Just Elf.
Just
I was
Elf.
like, wait, it took me a second.
And then
I'm
you said
slow.
Sam, and I got confused.
Yeah, well, his name is Sam. The kids named him way back when we got him.
That's cute.
I know, but he's been the laziest shit ever.
That's
and every
cool.
year they get so excited. They're like, I can't wait to see what he does this year. And I thought, not move
You
for another
just
2 weeks.
wait.
Move to 3 locations over the entire
Just
Christmas
make
time.
him, like, hide in the microwave or some shit. Or make
No,
him look
because
like
my
he's
kids are
gonna
so
hold on.
stupid that they will. Like, and I say this with love, but my kids are so brain dead that they would melt his face.
Oh, yeah. Well, make him hold on to the microwave handle or something.
All right, I'm
Does
gonna
he
go.
do that?
Yeah, he can do all that.
Okay. There you go.
Sometimes I like to put him in creepy positions now
You
that
should.
they're older.
Oh my god, you should.
Maybe he'll be snuggling with
I
like
didn't
an
want to go
animal.
creepy because
Oh, I will.
didn't know how.
But they're my kids, so I'll go creepy. Whatever, I don't care.
You should have them caress their face in a video and then show it to them.
Oh my god, they will lose their mind,
like,
especially if
"Look."
they're sleeping at night. You
Yeah.
may. I may need some
Look.
assistance with that.
Shh, don't tell them.
Come over for game night. Let's drink and molest
Let's
the
do-
elf. Let's do weird things with the elf.
Let's do it. We could do that.
This sounds like a bad idea. Oh my god, I almost knocked shit over. All right,
Okay.
gotta be done.
We fooled the cards. They are fulfilled.
there's something.
They're living. Thank you for
Next
listening.
week, don't forget to
Next
tune
week.
in because I am going under
Yes.
the knife and
So
I'm
we're
doing
gonna
an
say
ode
We're gonna say
my
goodbye
titties.
to them titties.
Y'all.
To the mom
It's gonna be epic.
It
but
is.
it's also gonna be
Mommy
very
makeover
sad.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Bye.
Bye.